Okay, well, let's just like have a last look at the actual tree for paladins. So we know we are starting as Holy from Blessing of Freedom. We of course pick Debo, and we would have to pick Horse 100% if we want to ever go down to pick Wings. So we will pick that, and then we would just pick Lay on Hands, because we kind of just want to have Lay on Hands as a healer, right? Like we kind of need Lay on Hands. We only have 4 points invested right now. As Holy, I guess we would have already gotten this one, like, right? We would have already gotten this power. We maybe could skip on... Nah, we couldn't skip on picking this. Like, how do we even get to the kick in that case? Let's do a Mythic Plus build for Holy. You couldn't skip on this to get to the kick, so you have to pick this, and you would start from here. And I'm assuming you already would have a Debo, so you would pick Hammer of Wrath. You would have to pick this 100% if you want to ever go down to the kick. So in that case, we would have no other option other than picking Fist of Justice, and then we would have to go through this shit, increase haste, still at 7 points. So we have to choose something here. Would be Blinding Light. Extra armor and critical strike chance. That is so bad. Oh my god. Okay, so you would pick the kick. Damaging power, spending abilities, deal 10% increased damage. We thought about this. It's just going to be more Shield of Righteous damage, but since there is no 4 set, that just simply means that your excess holy power is going to be doing more damage, which is perfect. That's just what we want. We pick Wings. We pick Sack. We pick Short Sack. That's likely it's not something you can give up. Now, we don't know if this is going to be a thing. Judgment generates 1 holy power. If we're gonna get holy power generation out of Judgment as Holy Paladins, that could be sick. That could be very sick. Woo! Okay, we would pick this because we would go for Divine Purpose. We would then pick Extra Speed and Avoidance because we want to be going down to increase Consecration damage. Now we are giving up on Golden Path. Golden Path sucks. However, if we do so, we don't pick this one, which makes Consecration tick an additional time every time for more healing and damage. So, yeah. That's like 1 extra tick of Consecration every time. It doesn't seem that huge, now that I think about it. Because after all, 1 tick of Consecration is not that big of a deal, but let's assume you don't pick that. Okay, let's just assume you don't pick that. You go and pick Judgment of Light. It's gonna be a lot of free healing. You probably would have to go and pick this. I'm assuming what's going to happen is this is going to be taken away from the normal Dispel for Paladins, for even Holy Paladins, and therefore, if you want to cleanse poisons and diseases, you will have to pick this. So it's gonna be almost mandatory. And we are at 22. So we are already picking extra stuff here. Now, you would pick the extra Consecration damage. Then your attacks have a chance to apply a debuff, increasing the holy damage taken. So you would pick all 3 of those and go for Mad Paragon for extra damage. And probably pick... We said it was going to be... the Consecration flare-up thing would be more damage. Yeah, this one we just said that it would be a matter of tuning. Maybe the damage increase from Incandescence is so much more than the damage increase from Touch of Light that you just go with Incandescence. However, Touch of Light also does like extra healing. So depending on how much it does, you would pick one or the other. I just see that you would pick this for extra Consecration damage. That's all you want. You just want more Consecration damage. Now, you pick Bob, and you pick extra wings, reduce cooldown, and you are at 30 already. We are already at 30. Now, the question was, do you need cleanse toxins? Like, is it gonna be mandatory? If it is, then you kind of want to pick that. Otherwise, it would just be a matter of, do you need a poison and disease dispel for this dungeon? Yes, you pick it. No, you don't pick it. If you don't pick it, you have no access to After Image, which just makes your Word of Glory after one Holy Power spending ability like repeat itself for 30% effectiveness, which probably will be a must for Mythic Plus. And then you would have this Crusader Strike increases your primary target, or rather your primary stat, by a bit. With multiple applications, so that's huge. That's really good. Probably a very high uptime. We are giving up Unbreakable Spirit. We're giving up the Mastery increase. You don't want that. That's probably for rating. You're giving up Spell Warding and lesser cooldown on Bob. So this all seems situational. You need more defensiveness. You need more bubbles. You just want to have Divine Protection up more often. You probably pick this almost always. Divine Protection being up more often is huge. This you would only pick in raids. And then you might not even pick it. It's just 12% increased mastery is a lot, but that's only during wings. And then increased or reduced cooldown of Bob sounds like not too exciting, honestly. That sounds like not too exciting. Spell Warding is just situational, and then it would be Sanctified Wrath. Judgment generates one additional holy power. If this works during, like, with holy, you pick Sanctified Wrath almost always. Like, that gives you such a big burst in many ways. But then at this point we don't have anything we can give up. You could give up Judgment of Light, but we didn't even pick the extra damage from Consecration here already. You could give up Lay on Hands, which just seems weird. A Holy Paladin with a Lay on Hands seems like very weird. After all, you can only use this every 10 minutes, but yeah, you know how it is. You need Lay on Hands as a Holy Paladin, right? Sanctified Wrath, though, would make you more often just better. Longer wings and Judgment generating 2 holy power. If that is the case, that would be massive. That would be massive. Sanctified Wrath would be so much better. Reduce cooldown of sack. That just seems too juicy to pass on in Mythic Plus, honestly. That just seems too juicy. And Mad Paragon is, you know, they Hammer of Wrath and Judgment deal 10% increased damage, and hold up, both of them extend the duration of Avenging Wrath by 0.5. Okay, so both of them do increase the duration actually. Instead of just being Hammer of Wrath, it's not 30%, it's only 10%. And it's 0.5 instead of being 1 second, but it's also Judgment. It might just not be that great though, because only 10% increased damage sounds like shit. And yeah, you're giving up 1 point. 50% increased holy damage taken, only 3 procs per minute. It could be the case that you just straight up give up on this, because this is just like extra damage, nothing else, just simply more wings and extra damage. But you probably would pick it as from a Mythic Plus point of view, and then you would be giving up the increased, main stat after you use Crusader Strike. This would probably have a very high uptime, so this is not something you would likely give up on. I don't think so. And reducing the cost of your next Word of Glory, having a chance of doing so also seems very, very strong. Dusk and Dawn, also a lot of damage. You would probably keep this up almost 100% of the time. And then you would have this Holy Power spending abilities, deal 10% increased damage and healing, and your armor is increased by 10%, and your Flash of Light heals more. So you're getting more damage out of this in a reliable way. You could control this pretty... not easily, but you can control this, and having both buffs up could be very, very deterministic. This does seem like a very possible tree for Mythic Plus. Giving up on Mad Paragon like this, though, I don't know. This is just simply more damage and a little bit extra wings. But then here you also get the extra damage and the extra reduced damage taken and the extra damage and extra healing and extra reduced damage taken, and it's like you're getting a lot of stuff from this two alone. But it also forces you to play with this sort of style where you go up to 5 and then back to 0, then to 5 and to 0. It's not unthinkable, but it's just a bit annoying. Instead of going 3, you are encouraged to go all the way to 5 all the time. And yeah, the Crusader Strike main stat, this is just going to be a matter of tuning. If you're able to keep this up all the time, that's a lot of main stat. So I'm assuming you get 28 primary stat, and you can have it up, you know, they overlap. Yeah, multiple applications overlap, but you don't get like double the value, you just overlap. They don't extend off of each other. That's what I mean. So could see an angle where you pick this, could also see an angle where you pick this instead. Because reducing the cost of your holy power spending abilities by 15%, like having the chance of reducing the cost by 1, meaning Light of Dawn or Word of Glory or Shield of Righteous would cost only 1 holy power. This is also potentially strong, but it's RNG. And yeah, turn evil, situational stuff. Seal of a Templar. I don't see how you want this too much on PvE. More horses or longer horses. Situational stuff. Extra healing from Golden Path. Golden Path is not bad, but it's also not the greatest thing ever. And this would probably be good, but situational, depending on how this is implemented for Holy. Same thing with the Judgment generating Holy Power. If Holy also generates Holy Power with Judgment, that would be massive. I don't see how you pass on Divine Purpose. And yeah, you need to get to this, so you're going to pick Bob for sure. You're always going to be picking Reduced Cooldown on Wings. I don't see how you pass on Unbreakable Spirit to Mythic Plus, and then you want to get all the way to Sanctified Wrath, because if it does last 25% longer and generate 1 additional Holy Power with Judgment, that is huge. The other option would be Seraphine, which I don't think would be that great, now that you have even more Holy Power and more, you know, duration and stuff. Yeah. That would be a rating talent, that would be situational. This could compete with that. I see this being really strong. I don't see this being that strong, but maybe if you want to give up on this, you could then pick this. And yeah, I think this is going to be, for the most part, the tree. Now, we're giving up on Leon Hands over here. So, yeah, it's a rough choice, because you could also give up on that, on Judgment of Light. But I see Judgment of Light just being much more consistent healing. And after all, Leon Hands could save somebody, but you know, it's a fuck-up scenario, you know? You're never really relying on Leon Hands for anything, for the most part. It's nice, but it's something you could make out without. And you want to get the kick for sure for Mythic Plus. And in order to get to this side, you know, if you could give up this, because you would never use this aura, you could give up on this, and then this, like these two are pretty useless. You could give up on the kick if you didn't need that. But you would be giving up on the increased damage, which it's only from Shield of the Righteous, so that's going to be amounting for quite a bit of damage anyways. But yeah, there would be a world where you don't pick the kick, normally in probably rating. So in that case, you wouldn't be picking this. You wouldn't be picking this. You probably wouldn't be picking this, nor that. The haste, you could do that, you could do without that, so you would then pick that. You would lose that. You would then... You need to pick something else here, right? You need to pick like an extra charge. Okay, let's say you pick an extra charge for rating. So you're making out without that. You would then go Wings. You would generate extra Holy Power. Bob. The increased damage from the Judgment thing, whatever. Holy Avenger does the same thing as it used to. So you would probably pick Divine Purpose. This is just damage, 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 and extra healing, damage, and damage. So yeah, from a rating point of view, you go this. You go with more sacks almost for sure. The other option here is kind of iffy. As Blessing of Sacrifice ends and 15% of the total damage it diverted to you know, the 50% of the damage you diverted with Sack is added to as damage to your next Judgment or as healing to your next Word of Glory. So you make your Word of Glory into a Lay on Hands or your Judgment into just a very fat one single amount of damage. It's either that or 1 minute Sack. So I'm just really thinking that you pick 1 minute Sack. Always. Yeah, extra healing with Water Glory. Not really gonna be using this too much in Mythic Plus, or rather in raiding. You probably don't care about the Dispel in raids. You'd rather have somebody else do it that doesn't need to spend a talent. Still thinking that this might, you know, you probably need to pick this as Holy still. And then you can't go any lower here without spending more points. So since we don't care about this too much, let's say you would just pick Golden Path for more healing. And then you would go with Speed and Avoidance. Like, you don't want to get that, so you would just go with that stuff. And then you could access this side. You would go with more wings. And all these 3 points, maybe. This is where these 3 points seem attractive for raiding, but at the same time, it's just 12% mastery. So let's say you pick this. Otherwise, this is really situational, so you could give up this for that. And then you pick Sanctified Wrath. Seems too good to pass on with the extra holy power. And then once again, it's a matter of which one is going to be better. The amount of main stat is going to be worth it or not. If it's not worth it, then you pick this up and then you pick that and that. You're 28, so then you could do all those 3. A lot of healing coming from the extra mastery, or maybe you go for the extra main stat and you go those instead of the mastery. This is a potential rating tree. The other one was a potential Mythic Plus tree. Questions about Seal of the Crusader and Mad Paragon. That's really all I gotta say for the Paladin tree so far. From a Holy point of view, thinking about both rating and about Mythic Plus.